Just remember, Casio calculator allows you to use a calculator without using a calculator. Okay, so 5.2, yeah? 5.2, we have, let's expand it so that everyone can see it. Okay, sure. So here's what we have. We have 4, the sign of 150. Let me write it here, maybe. Let's do this. Because it's not so visible. It's 5.2.1. So you have the root, and then you have 4. You have the sign of 150. Huh? The pen is too big. Okay, let's make it small. Okay, we have 4, and then we have the sign of 150 multiplied by it's 2, and then it's 3, the tan of 225. Now, these things here, we can reduce them using special angles. We are going to use reducing angles and special angles. How do I approach it? Without the use of a calculator. Without the use of a calculator, I am going to go to a Cartesian plane and do something like this. And say I have 0, I have 90, I have 180, I have 270, and then I also have what? 360. And then I will say this one here, it reduces and then it changes. And I will say this one reduces only. So I'll just write R only. And I would go to say 150. Where would I find 150? That's the first question that I would ask. Where would I find 150? Huh? On which quadrant? On the second quadrant. Okay? Yeah, I will come and put my 150 here and say, okay, this is 150. And then if this is 150, I am going to use this thing here, which is a reducing angle. Okay? And I will say, if I'm going from a reducing angle and then I'm moving clockwise, I subtract. If I move anti-clockwise, I add. So I can either add or subtract to go to 150. Like I said, guys, usually I stay away from 90 and 270 because 90 and 270, they change and what and reduce. So in this case, the obvious option for me is going to be 180. So I will say 180 minus what so that I can get 150. What should I subtract? So I will say 180 minus what so that I can get 150. If I say 180 minus 80, this thing here is going to give me what? 150. So what is this angle here? In other words, it means with this angle here is going to be what to me? 8. 180 minus 8 is going, 180 minus 8 is going to give us 150. Meaning which I can rewrite this thing here. The first thing that I will do then is to say, okay, I have root. This thing is going to be written as sine 180 degrees. No, it's not 1,800. It's 180 degrees. What am I doing? It's 2, it's 4. It's 4, the sine of 180 degrees minus 30 multiplied by 2. It's 3 multiplied by, okay, where would you find 225? On which quadrant do you find 225? That quadrant again. And then remember, I have an option to use 270. I have an option to use what? 108 again. So I'm going to 108 and then I'm moving clockwise. I'm adding. What can I add so that I can get 225? This is going to be 45. This one plus 180 plus 45 is going to give me 225. Let's put that. So we have 3. We have the tan of 180 degrees plus 45. 180 plus 45 is going to give us 225. Okay? So what have I done? Look at this. This is 225. This is also 225. This is 225 with a reducing angle. This is 150 with a reducing angle. That's what we need to do. Okay, after that, what do we do then? We reduce this thing here. When we reduce 180, it disappears. When we reduce this 180, disappears. If this thing disappears, then you are going to say, what am I going to be remaining with? I am going to be remaining with 4 to the power of sine of 30. Now, we want to know whether this thing here is going to be positive or negative. Okay? We're in the second quadrant. 150 is in the second quadrant. What do we say about sine in the second quadrant? It's positive. Okay? So we're going to leave this thing as sine of what? Of 8. Multiplied by 2. You have 225. This is 225. Okay? 225 is in the third quadrant. What will you say about tan in the third quadrant? It's positive. So this thing here is going to be written as the tan of 45. It's 3 multiplied by the tan of 45. Okay? Now then we bring in Mr. Casio then. Remember, Mr. Casio has special angles. Okay? Mr. Casio has special angles. Then after this, I'm going to say what is sine of 30. By now you should know this one. There are angles that we know. Sine of 30, we know this is going to be 4 to the power of what? Of 1 all over 2. Multiply by. This one here is going to be 2 multiplied by 3. Tan of 45, it's 1 again. This one's a common. And then after that, because we are dealing with exponents, if you really want to show them which you know what you are doing, 4 is not a prime base. And then you will have to change 4 into a prime base. And then if you change 4 to a prime base, how do you do that? You say, okay, I'm going to have 4, and then you say equals to, and then you say shift, and then you press, there's a fact somewhere here. And then T4 can be written as what? As 2 to the power of 2. Which means now what you have? You're going to have 2 to the power of 2 multiplied by 1 all over 2. Multiplied by 2 to the power of what? Of 3. This, if you're not sure, if I was tempted, we type into the calculator, ignores 2. Ne? 2 to the power of 3 ignores 8. 2 multiplied by 8 ignores 1. Square root of 16. Which is plus minus 4. No, it's not plus and minus 4 because the square root less when I didn't introduce it is enough square root less. It's not plus minus 4, it's 4. Because the square root less abakafaka plus and the minus key. So one of us needs the square root less. Mr. Square root is not plus and the minus. The square root is not plus and minus. If you introduce a square root, if you play square root, there's no plus and the minus. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you be careful here. I'm sure you are playing their game. So, let's check the mark. What's 1 mark here, 1 mark. Not this one. What's the mark? So, it's mark for sine 30. So, it's mark for tan of 45. So, it's mark for changing this one into a prime base. So, it's mark not this one. So, it's mark for 16. So, it's mark for 4. Because you need to be able to play this game. If you didn't do this one to a prime base, I think you might not get a mark. Okay, I see 5.2.2. 5.2.2. So what do we have here? Look at this. We have tan of 180 minus. Okay? Now remember, how do we do this thing? Again, we use the Cartesian plane. Cartesian plane, it's 0. What do you have after it? We have 9. After that, what do you have? And 8. After that, what do you have? 270. After that, what do you have? 360. After that, what do you have? 450. Okay? After that, what do you have? 540. Yeah, remember, this one, they reduce and change. Remember, this one's what do? They reduce only. So if it's sine, it remains at sine. Okay? So you'll say horizontal line reduces only, vertical line reduces and changes it. So that's what we're going to be doing first. 108, it's here, we reduce only. Okay? So it means tan is still going to remain as what? As tan. So what are we going to write here? We're going to write this thing as the tan of x. Again, 180 disappears. Okay? So we're going to be left with tan x. Cos of x, it's fine. If the angle is positive, we leave it exactly as positive. We shouldn't worry about it. We're going to be worried if it gave us a negative angle inside. Okay, but so we're going to write this as cos of x. All over. You come to this one, 180 disappears. Okay? It only reduces, it doesn't change. It's only here now. It reduces only, it doesn't change. So here we are going to have what? The sine of x. Let's put it inside the bracket just to be stable. Multiply by cos of x, we leave it exactly like that. It's cos of x. Minus is from the formula. Okay? 540, where do you find 540? You find it on the horizontal line. Okay? Does 540 reduces on change or reduces on? It reduces on. So 540 is gone. So put it inside the bracket here. If you put it inside the bracket, you are going to be left with cos of x. Okay? And then you close your bracket, you open another bracket. 90. Remember, what is 90? 90 reduces and changes. Okay? So what are we going to have here? Sine of x. Okay? Okay, now that we have done that, check whether it reduces or changes. We go to our calculator. We want to check whether it's positive or negative. Okay? One by one. Let's go to all of them, one by one. All of them, we check them one by one. 108 again. Oh, we have tan 180 plus 1. 180 plus 1